Welcome back. I'm still a little bit sick, but we're going to try to do something different. Maybe I might do this from now on. We're going to talk about my last month's reads, and then we're also going to talk about my next month's reading list, all in the same video. I think that'll probably make a lot more sense and it'll be a lot better. So let's get started with everything I read in February. Here's a picture of a stack of it. I'm not going to hold all that because it most definitely will just fall all over me. But we can go through them one by one. I probably won't take too long to talk about each because it is a pretty hefty list. I want to talk about the individual issues first, and then the trades, and then those two omnibuses next. Night Fight number 4. This one was pretty good. This is the finale of Night Fight. It's kind of a side story for Batman, for Bruce, and it was really fun. I am filming this after I've gotten my comic books for this month. New Comic Book Day was yesterday, and today's Thursday. And in my stack that I got, I think it was in DCKO number 5, there was a hint towards Night Fight's universe. So we might actually see them come back. It'll be cool to see all of these Batman characters again, all of the main 4 Robins as Batman. I think they would be wasted if they were just in this little mini-series, so I'm excited about how they're going to bring them back. Batman number 6. This one was a lot of fun. This is the one that Tim Drake leaves in. I'm curious to know where they're going with that because I think Matt Fraction's kind of hinted that it's not like a permanent leave, and I don't think anybody believed it was a permanent leave, but I wonder what this leave will do for the character arc of Tim Drake, and then like what coming back will do. And I wonder if this is really going to be the moment DC retires him as Robin. And maybe not have him as Red Robin, but have something as completely new. Batgirl 16, I want to like this series so much. I think it leans too heavily into being like connected to Shiva. I think it would be so much better if it was about Cassandra Cain instead of it being like, oh, she has to deal with the consequences of her mother's like life. And I don't really think that is a great sell. I also am disappointed in the Jade Tiger character Tenji. I'm pretty neutral on like a secret sibling storyline. I think it is kind of a cop-out and maybe kind of a easy twist in the story just for the sake of having a twist to the story. But now that he's introduced, he kind of doesn't do anything, and we kind of just forgot that he had a story that intertwines with this, and he doesn't really seem to have that much of an importance to the story either. He's almost just there to add another character to the supporting cast, which I think is kind of a waste. A waste of a supporting cast spot, and also a waste of the character, because I think he could do more. I feel like there's wasted potential in introducing a secret sibling of Cassandra Cain. DCKO number 4, this is the introduction of the Absolute Trinity into the DCKO universe, into the mainline universe, I think it was alright. It was really weird. This issue was really weird. There's a lot of stuff going on at once and a lot of crazy stuff happening. This is kind of the theme though in DCKO. Immortal Legend Batman number 6. This is the final one of this series, and I think I said it before, I'm not a big fan of Kyle Higgins, as I'm slowly realizing. I'm not going to be totally avoidant of Kyle Higgins' writing like from now on, but I'm definitely going to like take it with some pause and be like, do I really want to get into this? I don't know if I want to keep talking about why I don't like it, but basically it just doesn't feel cohesive. It feels more like bullet points than an actual flowing story. This one specifically felt that same way too, and I think it was just kind of okay. I think other people might like it, but me not so much. Cyclops number 1. This is the first in a new Cyclops line. I might get issue 2, and then I might drop it. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, it's just kind of okay. But I do think it has the potential of being like a really good character study of Cyclops. It seems pretty intimate. It seems like a side quest almost, but we don't know how much it'll dive into the character of Scott Summers. So I'll be curious how issue 2 kind of flows in the story, but if that one doesn't really sell me, then I will probably drop it. Mark Spector, Moon Knight number 1. This is a new arc or a new series in Jed MacKay's long-standing run of Moon Knight. This one has rebooted a bunch of times because Marvel loves to do number 1s, but this issue specifically felt more like a prologue, precursor to the actual story. So it didn't really sell me on continually reading this, but it was pretty decent. It was very much like kind of a pocket into the story, but I think at the end and probably issue 2 is when the story really starts going. Unfortunately for me though, it didn't sell me enough, so I probably won't read beyond this issue, but it's a cool cover, and I do have other Jed MacKay Moon Knight trades that I should probably read. They're in my bookshelf, but I just haven't gotten to them yet. Absolute Batman 17, this one's really cool. It introduces Poison Ivy. I really liked that. I really like the way that she's handled. I think it's hard to give like a concrete opinion because it's so early. And I'm also not following the Absolute books this closely. I am reading them in trades, so I'm going to have to wait till trade number 3 comes out for volume 3. This might be volume 3, I'm pretty sure. I don't think it'll be volume 4. I think volume 4 would be other issues down the line. But I got this one because of the introduction of Poison Ivy, and I thought it was pretty good. There were some hints to other future storylines in here as well, at least near the end of it. And Poison Ivy herself is pretty cool. It's a lot different. I think this exploration of her is very interesting, and I wonder if there's going to be bigger plans for her down the line. Nightwing 135, this is the final issue of this arc. Dan Waters is still going to continue writing it, but this is the last issue for Dexter Sword to be the artist on it. And it was a pretty good cap off, it was a pretty good ending. I think this series as a whole, Dan Waters' Nightwing run is good enough. Like, I think it's decent. It's pretty well written. I think I didn't like the Death Traps arc a little bit. I felt like that was a weird side quest that we did. I don't think it was like a bad Nightwing story per se. I think it was just not super amazing and also just not relevant to the other arcs that were surrounding it, like the one that came before and then the one that this finished off, which is connected to the one before. But I do like the tone of Waters' Nightwing book, and I really like that. I think it lacks a lot of supporting characters. I think a lot of the supporting characters that do show up don't really show up that much, and when they do, they seem pretty disconnected from the story and not really a part of it, just on the fringe of it. I hope that does change in the next arc. We'll have to see, but so far, pretty good. Wonder Woman 30, this is capping off Stephanie Williams' 2-issue arc in the middle of Tom King's one. It's pretty decent. It's pretty much like about the sisterhood of Amazons and Themyscira. Detective Comics 575. This is a reprint of the original Detective Comics 575. It's also the first issue of the Year 2 arc, which is not very popular. It's not as popular as Year 1, of course, and now reading the first issue, I can kind of see why. It's kind of like a generic Batman story. It's not super like crazy or interesting or anything. I think the cover though is pretty famous or infamous, really. You don't actually get any like references to this cover until the very end of the issue, and I'm sure in the grand story it's a red herring. But either way, I thought it was pretty cool to get this because I saw it on the rack and I said might as well get a reprint. I'm not opposed to getting reprints of these older issues, so might as well grab it. Titans 32, this connected or supposedly connected to the DCKO Kids Are All Fight issue. It really didn't connect to it. And also, I read the first issue of Layman's Night Titans run a few months back, or maybe a year ago, and it wasn't good. I didn't like it. And then I kind of saw the other issues that were later, and I was like, I'm not missing much. And then this one, I read it back again for the first time, jumped back into Layman's run, and I didn't like it. It wasn't that great. It was very generic and almost like the baby Titans, like kind of like generic Titans. It almost seemed to like dumb them down. But we are going to get new Titans runs. I believe a new Titans and a new Teen Titans. We'll see how that plays out and how their two teams will operate. I think the last time they did that was in the beginning of Rebirth. But I'm curious to see how that will be. It's not going to be written by Layman, so there's that to look forward to. Deadly Hands of Kunlun. This one is just something I wanted to pick up because of Lin Lee on the cover and in the issue. But maybe I'm just so far removed from Marvel and the Iron Fist kind of mythos, but everything in this was just huge word vomit and lore drop vomit and like backstory vomit, and it was just so many words even when the people were just talking about nothing. It was very, very much like the writing was bombarding me, so I would probably just keep this first issue and not read the rest of the series. It was a little too much. Maybe the rest of the series, is normal, and the first issue is just trying to set you up. But I think the setup was just a huge turnoff. New history of the DC Universe, the Dakota Incident. This one is exciting because it's kind of a one-off spin-off, attachment to the New History of the DC Universe series that they had. I was very curious how this would play out in one entire issue, but it seems like it's kind of the Milestone's equivalent of the original trade that they had just released. It was really cool to see Static again, and he does have like an older design in this one, so I think he's like in college or something like that, which is weird because he does show up in the DCKO Kids Are All Fight special, and I don't think he looks that much older. I feel like he might have shown up a few times before that as well. And I know he has that Static and Batman Beyond book that's currently coming out. I read one issue of that one, the first one, and it wasn't for me. I don't think it was awful, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. But for this one specifically, it was really cool to see Static older. I think he should age, why not? Like, he shouldn't be a teen forever. But, somewhere around early 20s, maybe mid 20s is something is a good sweet spot for Static now, and I think it would open up a wave of, like, fresh new stories for him as well. It was also really cool to see Rocket's son in this, a little bit grown up, because it's, like, a future timeline that he's a part of. I thought his design was cool. Him as a character seemed very cool. As far as I know, this is the first time he's introduced, like, as an older, like, character, at least, like, as old as he is here, and not, like, a baby. I don't know what his powers are. I know he goes by Beacon, but I couldn't really tell, like, what his powers were exactly. I do hope he comes back. It was very much hinting that he was the sidekick of Static, like, in his future timeline. So it'd be interesting to see how that plays into any future Milestone books. There's nothing confirmed about milestone like coming out later, but I hope that they give Static an ongoing because he's due for one, and I think if any character could get one, it would be him, and he should get one. And the writing should be not that hard. I mean, there's a whole TV show about Static, and you could just take all the show storylines and episodes, take the original Milestone comics, Static books, and really just make something really great with it, and it really shouldn't be that hard. Now onto my trades. We have Absolute Batman Volume 2. I've been collecting the trades from now on. I got the first 6 issues of everything, but now I'm getting the trades since the Volume 2s are coming out. This is really all about Bane and his reign of terror on Gotham and on Bruce. It was really, really cool. You know, I liked a lot of parts of it, I liked all the moments. Very much an exhilarating storyline. I highly recommend it. I also have another Absolute trade in this stack, so we'll get to that as well, but I think Batman and Wonder Woman are probably my favorite of the Absolute lines. They do a lot of great stuff, and I think they kind of embody the spirit of what I like the most about the Absolute line. Next, we have The Next Batman Second Son. This is the introduction of Jace Fox. Not necessarily him as Batman, because at the end of the book is when he finds the bat suit, but it's really good if you want to start somewhere with Jace Fox, because it really kind of elaborates on who he is as a character, explains where he comes from a little bit, who he is. You don't get like a full backstory. There's a lot of hints towards things. We don't actually know why he changed his name to Jace, but they hint that it was for an important reason. I'm sure a lot of that expansion of his story is in I Am Batman, which I believe is the next to read after this one, if you want to know more about Jace. And in I Am Batman, I'm sure there's a lot of great like hit Batman moments as well. I believe he's in New York right now, so I don't know how that works in the DC universe and what he's doing there, but he should definitely also get a solo run. I don't know why. Like, if you read that book, you can really find him as a really interesting character. I really liked his character. I think he's wasted on being in a weird limbo space of just doing nothing. JLA, Tower of Babel. This is the inspiration of that animated movie, Justice League Doom, which I really like the animated movie, and I did really like the book, though it is very much more comic booky than the movie. A lot of things are different, but it is also pretty cool. There's a lot more like stressful moments in the book as well, but I think the movie does a really good job of streamlining the story. Once and Future, this was a really weird one to me. It kind of plays with the King Arthur mythos, but on a modern day, and it plays with the fact that there's many iterations of the King Arthur mythos. They make it a plot point to like not know things about what's going on currently or about the mythos, which was a little bit frustrating because the pace moved out at such a weird pace. And then it makes it purposeful that you're not supposed to know anything, and it just made it kind of like, I kind of want to know stuff, you know, like I want to know what's going on and stuff. But you know, Dan Mora was the artist, so you know that kept me going. Really, I might get more volumes of this, but I'm not in a rush right now. DC Finest Batgirl, Nobody Dies Tonight. This one was really, really good. I talked about this before. I talked about all these books before, and I might be repeating a lot of my stuff, but this was really good. This is from Cassandra Cain's Batgirl run in the year 2000, and it doesn't collect the first 6 issues, so read those how you will online, digitally, especially because I think those 6 issues do a lot to kind of contextualize what's going on. It gives a lot of like setup for the book itself. And Nobody Dies Tonight, the subtitle, is really the crux of the book, and it's really, really good. You get to learn a lot about Cassandra Cain as a character, not like her backstory necessarily, but like who she is as a person, and I think that's really good. And I am not the first person to say this, but there are a lot of like divorced parents vibes from Barbara and Bruce. It's really like a divorced parents that have never gotten married, and I think it's hilarious. And they do really well to be parents to Cassandra Cain too. Like, there's a lot to like about this book. It's really, really good. My other Absolute title is Absolute Wonder Woman Volume 2. This one is really good. I'm enjoying this series a lot as I'm reading it in trades. This is probably my favorite. You know, Batman and Wonder Woman, they're different times, they'd be my favorite, but if I had to pick one, it would definitely be Absolute Wonder Woman. It just does so much that I like. Just narratively with the characters, how the story pans out, how Diana is just as a whole. I think she's just a really well-written character. I really like Kelly Thompson's writing, especially after the Birds of Prey run that she did recently that unfortunately got canned. But she's still writing Absolute Wonder Woman, which I'm really enjoying. I would hope that she could potentially write mainline Wonder Woman, but I don't know if she wants to write 2 Wonder Womans at the same time. I think that would be a little bit weird. So, I don't know. But someone's got to replace Tom King. But I hope to see more of Kelly Thompson and other stuff. I'm sad her Birds of Prey ended, but what can you do? Nightwing, this is the entire New 52 omnibus for his run. This one was not very good. This is also Kyle Higgins, and I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. It does a lot of weird stuff, and even the stuff that is good is more just okay than anything. He doesn't actually go to Bloodhaven at all. They never say the word Bloodhaven. He's in Gotham for like half of this, and then he's dealing with crossover stuff as Nightwing books do, and then he's in Chicago for no reason. Like they give like a reason in the writing that what he's in Chicago for, but like out of universe, like from a writer's perspective, from an audience perspective, why is he in Chicago? That could have easily been Bloodhaven. It didn't have to be Chicago. And they give side characters I don't care about. They give storylines I don't care about. And just generally, I hate the red suit as well. And then it goes into Grayson after this, which I've already read. After the New 52 run, it goes into Grayson, as I said, and then we go into the Nightwing Rebirth run, which is a behemoth of a book. This is huge. This goes up to, I believe, issue 49, which is right before the Rick Grayson arc. There's some more tie-in issues, you know, here from Batman, from Batgirl, Detective Comics, Green Arrow, Teen Titans. There's a lot of stuff from other books in here, of course, but this pretty much covers what is considered like all of Rebirth, and I think it was kind of not great. It tries to like combine elements of everything, maybe not so much New 52, maybe a little bit New 52. It tries to combine some of Grayson's stuff, some of the original Chuck Dixon Nightwing stuff, and it just kind of babyfies them, as the best way I can explain it. To me, this feels more like Baby Bloodhaven than anything. Like he's not actually in Bloodhaven for at least 2 books, 2 or 3 of the volumes in here. So maybe that's like 2 or 3 arcs in here. But it very much leans into like the fact that everything is more softer than the Chuck Dixon run. And the Chuck Dixon run was pretty edgy at sometimes, so you can fault it for that. But I think this one mutes Bloodhaven like a lot more. Like, I don't know how to explain it besides that it just feels like they baby-fied it. A lot of the characters don't seem super threatening or really interesting at all. If anything, this is also like all about Raptor, a new character they introduced during Rebirth. And I just kind of don't like Raptor. I kind of hate him. I don't know how best to explain Raptor besides he's like the Severus Snape to Nightwing, and it's really annoying. Yeah, I don't really like Raptor that much, and I don't really like this whole like era of Nightwing that much. I'm debating whether or not to read Rick Grayson next since I just finished Rebirth. Either that or go back into Chuck Dixon's run because I never finished that one, and then read that all the way out to Devin Grayson, Peter J. Tomasi, you know, the whole run. Or I could potentially go to Grant Morrison's Batman run, read that start to finish, all the way up to when Dick Grayson becomes Batman, because I missed that run. I really liked the era when Dick Grayson was Batman, and those were some of my first comics that I had ever read, so it's kind of nostalgic for me as well. So it's either Dick Grayson as Batman, or finish out Chuck Dixon, or Rick Grayson into Tom Taylor. I'm not sure which. I'm not in a huge rush to do it right now, but those are the 3 options for Nightwing runs to read. But yeah, that's everything I read in February. It was a lot more than I thought it would be, and I was also sick for most of it. And it was the shortest month also, so it's kind of crazy I read that much. I'm really surprised. But now let's talk about everything that I'm planning to read in March. This is going to be more of just talking about my pull list, because I might read stuff outside my pull list, as like the omnibuses were outside my pull list. But I also just want to like list the pull list stuff in case I don't get to any of the stuff that's on my bookshelf. That I might put on the list. I think, you know, just having what's concretely that I'm going to read is going to be fine. So let's see here. We have Absolute Superman Volume 2. That one is going to be stuff I haven't read because I stopped reading after issue 6 on a lot of these Absolute runs. I'm not too excited about it because it is Ra's al Ghul in a Superman book for some reason. I don't know why this Absolute Superman book is just allergic to Superman characters and villains. I kind of hate also that there's this like futuristic sci-fi dystopian vibe that's going on in the Superman book, but it also shares the universe with all the other Absolute books, and they are just normal. They're pretty normal. I mean, you know, as normal as they can be. Like, you know, Gotham is as normal as it can be. What Wonder Woman deals with is as normal as she can be. I think what Superman's book does, though, it kind of like alters the perception of the world like too much. You know, it doesn't feel like it's his corner. It feels like the whole world is like this when it's really not. But yeah, I don't know why it's Ra's al Ghul. It could be Vandal Savage. I'm not the first person to say that, and I won't be the last. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't get why there aren't more characters that are Superman related involved. You know, like where's Silver Banshee? Where's Livewire? Where's Toyman? I know the most recent issues, I think, just introduced Parasite, but like you're just now introducing Parasite. I feel like Metallo should be in here already. Maybe even have like Hank Henshaw, like maybe he should have been a part of it, been like a friend of Superman, and then they get corrupted down the line. I don't know. I just felt weird that there's not many Superman related characters in this, and then also the spirit of the book doesn't feel very Superman related, you know. We also have Batgirl 17. Hoping this new arc breathes new life in the series. The series definitely needs like some kind of revitalization. We have Batman number 7. This is supposed to be the introduction of Joker into Matt Fraction's run. So I'm curious how that is. I'm curious what's going on in Matt Fraction's run because I like the episodic nature of it, but also it feels almost disjointed sometimes. You know, I kind of want the story to start going because there's like a mystery imbrued into the villains, into the spirit of Gotham, and I don't really understand what it is yet. DCKO number 5 is on my list. It is also the finale of DCKO, so I'm excited to see how that wraps up. I do have Nightwing's compact comics for Leaping into the Light. It's the Tom Taylor's first, arc, but I don't know if I'm gonna get to reading that one because, as I said before, I'm still debating on which direction, which era of Nightwing to read next. X-Men United number 1. I don't know if I'll keep reading X-Men United. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna pull the whole series or just pull this first issue. Depending on how the first issue is, though, I will make that decision. But I haven't been reading much Marvel, so I decided maybe I'll try to jump into Marvel. But a lot of the Marvel that I have been reading has just continually disappointed me. So I think I might just stick to trades for Marvel, honestly. Do my research to see if the trade is good and story is good, and then decide if I should buy it at full price or not. Maybe go to like a used bookstore or something. But we'll see how X-Men United is. I think I should probably get some more indie books though. I'm liking Transformers. I'm a little behind on the current Transformers arc, but I at least want to get the rest of Daniel Warren Johnson's stories. I think I have volume 1 and 2, so I think it's like 3 and 4 is the rest of Daniel Warren Johnson's writing. I'll have to double check that, but I liked his writing of Transformers a lot. Batwoman number 1. This one's going to be interesting. It's Greg Rucka returning to Batwoman. I'm like iffy on Kate Kane, like I think she could be a very good character. There's a lot of potential there, but the militaristic aspect of it is kind of a turnoff. And then she doesn't really have like an identity beyond that. Like she doesn't have a huge rogues gallery. I think it's hard to say like where she kind of fits in and like what exactly is the tone of her as a character. It's hard to say, but I'm curious to see if this new book will kind of set some kind of tone. Cyclops number 2, depending on how this one is, I might drop it. We'll have to see. But, the first issue was just kind of okay, so we'll see how this one is. I'm also getting another compact, which is The Flash Rebirth. I think I actually do have that book up here on my bookshelf. Obviously not the compact one because it's not out yet. I don't know if I'll read this one either. I don't know if I'll get to it, but we'll see. I'm at least buying it to add to my compact collection. Leonai the Vampire, The House of Yonda. This is number 1. I've never heard about this before. I think this might be a series that has other issues and other stories within the universe, but I haven't double checked. I probably should double check and maybe read the rest if I get a chance. But this is a vampire story. I'm a big fan of vampires. I really like vampires. So if it has a vampire in it, I'm immediately interested in it. And this is an indie book, so I won't get like bombarded with like decades of history of lore that I have to like do my homework on. But I'm super curious about this one just because it's a vampire story. New Titans 33. This is supposed to set up or at least showcase the new Titans team. I don't know who's on the team exactly. I think I have some like hints towards who's on the team, but I don't actually know who's on it. I don't know how the story's going to be, but I'm curious to know how it turns out. Nightwing 136. This is the first start of his new arc. I'm very curious about that one. I'm excited about it. I really like Nightwing. I like Waters' run, as I've said before. So I'm curious how this new run will be. I'm getting the variant cover by Yasmin Putri for Absolute Wonder Woman 18, so I'm going to read it, of course, because I'm getting the variant cover. I really like Yasmin's art. It's very, very nice. I'm also getting the Superman, Spider-Man, DC Marvel collab. I'm getting a variant cover for that one as well. Just going to see, what's going on with that one. I think it's worth a read to get a bunch of short stories as if the universes were, one and the same. And The Flash 31, this is Ryan North jumping on the run, making his own run of it. I think it'll be really interesting. I think what I heard about his Fantastic Four run is that it was very episodic, very much about family. And I think that'll be a really good like mix of style with The Flash with Wally West. I think I'm going to enjoy that a lot. At least I hope I will enjoy that a lot. I haven't read his Fantastic Four, so I don't really have anything to gauge it off of. But I know a lot of people like his Fantastic Four, so I hope that this one will be as good. So far, from what I've seen, it does look pretty good. But yeah, that's everything I got. That's everything I read last month in February. That's on everything on my reading list for March. See if I can read all of it. I'm sure I should. Hopefully I can read some more too if I get the chance. I do have a lot on my bookshelf that I haven't gotten to yet, but it's not most of it, but it's a decent chunk. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys read last month. Let me know what you guys plan to read for this month. If you guys have any thoughts about what I did read, what I plan to read, leave a comment down below. I would love to see what you guys think. And just let me know about your thoughts in general. And I'll see you next time.